Hey family, so I've been thinking more on the whole, the video where we talked this morning about the agitation cycle and the washing machine and things like that, and spots and wrinkles, spots being false teachers and stuff like that being removed. And we're at the end of the age, and this is a mighty and marvelous work of God. And I want to share with you a vision that I had 2 to 3 years ago that many of you may not have heard. It was in Wake Vision, and I saw this clear, like, globe, and the whole crowd of people, little people, was standing at the top in a big crowd all together. And all of a sudden, this globe tilted to the side, about 45 degrees. And then it uprighted itself. It tilted right back up straight, just one time. And when that happened, when it tilted to the side, the majority of the crowd ran with the tilt, in the direction of the tilt. They stumbled and they ran, or some of them ran and some of them stumbled, but a bunch of them fell off entirely. And there were a few left standing but separated out that had run with it, standing then on the side of this globe when it uprighted itself. And then there was a pretty small crowd standing at the top. And I noticed when it tilted, those people never moved. Okay. And it looks like we're about to get a UPS delivery here at work, so that might interrupt this a little bit. But, I believe the ones that fall off entirely are the tares, because the tares are being bundled before the wheat is brought into the barn, before the rapture. I think those are the wolves in sheep's clothing, the tares. They're just going to fall off entirely. And the ones at the top that were standing are the ones that are holding tightly to the head. They are rooted and grounded in Christ Jesus. He is their source and their strength and their salvation. We look here at Psalm 62:6. It says, "He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved." And if you look up all the Bible verses about who shall not be shaken and who shall not be moved, it's pretty revealing, pretty interesting, right? And okay, here comes the UPS guy. Just a minute, guys.
Hello.
Hi, thank you. Can you just sit it down there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.
No problem. How are you doing?
You too. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. I apologize. And then I believe the ones that were, there was an even smaller crowd of people that were still on, but were off on the side. They were separated out. And I believe that those are people that, there's going to be a delineation, and it's already happening. There's been a lot of shock and awe lately. You guys are probably aware of people that I've heard so many people tell me, oh, man, I couldn't believe it. I had to unsubscribe from this person and that person. I always thought they were solid in the gospel, and now they're doing this or that. And there has been this mixture that the church over, these centuries has had to endure of false brethren crept in unawares, wolves in sheep's clothing, and then those that are saved but, in bed with Jezebel and all caught up in idolatry and stuff like that. And we've been served up this mixture. And now his truth is being boldly proclaimed. And this is like an outpouring, this wonderful supernatural work of his spirit, a refreshing for the bride in preparation for us to have an abundant entrance. And the clear line is to help make manifest what is true and what is false. And, some things may be permissible but not helpful or expedient, right? And then other things are just junk. And people are caught up in all kinds of blah, right? And Christ is going to present us to himself corporately as a bride without spot or blemish, right? But I believe people off to the side are going to be able to clearly see the separation now, and they're going to be able to, their error is going to be the idolatry they're hanging on to and the cares of this world and all these things that are other than Christ, other than the living water and the bread of life. They're going to see, and it's going to be, the light's going to shine that much stronger, and they're going to be able to make a choice whether they want to stay in that or whether they want to embrace Jesus Christ. He is the way and the truth and the life as their source, as the head. Hold tightly to the head and be anchored also, because otherwise they're the ones that are tossed to and fro, right? You can be tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine and caught up in all sorts of things that are just substitutes for Christ. And those people are still saved. And like David said in his recent video, whether we wake or whether we sleep, that particular verse is not talking about people that are dead in the grave. And, in the original Greek, it's talking about people that are literally like asleep, as in not being watchful, and watchful is abiding in Christ, right? So there are people that are probably not going to have that abundant, joyful refreshing here at the end, right before we go home, that joyful entrance, into the kingdom. They'll be more like the bridezilla or whatever, but they're still saved. So that's the best scripturally that I could interpret that vision. And those of us that are rooted and cannot be moved are enjoying, and that explains why we have this peace that passes understanding in spite of all this going on, because it comes from Christ. It doesn't come from us, and we are holding tightly to him. That's why we cannot be moved. So I just wanted to share that with you guys and encourage you that's why I say to embrace this work, this that's happening, because we can see it happen before our eyes, and it's a marvelous work of God, and it is merciful and necessary. And be excited, guys. We're going home soon. Love y'all.